What's up, Yang Gang? So, first of all, we wanted to just thank everybody for the donations, and thank you SS for helping us out with an Airbnb for a couple days until we can establish a more permanent residence.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts to everybody. It's imperative that I stay a resident here in Vermont because I am trying to run for Congress next cycle, and in order for me to do that, I have to maintain my residence here in Vermont. So thank you to all the help. If y'all know of anything in Vermont, or y'all can help us out, donation links are all in the descriptions. We wanted to give you that quick update, but now for the reason of the video, the 3 pillars of Yang.
This was from a speech a long time ago, so this was early Yang.
Early Yang,
Really neat.
the 3 pillars of Yang. Y'all share, like, share, subscribe. See you on the next one, Yang Gang.
So I've come up with a plan, and the plan has 3 major components, so it has another 70 components that are on my website, because I'm very, very detail-oriented. But the 3 components to build a trickle-up economy from the ground up, the first one that I'm most associated with is universal basic income. Now raise your hand if you know a lot about universal basic income. Yes, universal basic income. People here, if you didn't raise your hand, don't worry about it. Universal basic income is a policy where everyone in the country gets a certain amount of money, free and clear, no questions asked. So in my plan, the Freedom Dividend, every American would get $1,000 a month, free and clear. So just think about for a moment what would happen if you and everyone you knew got $1,000 a month. Just think about that reality. Free! Andrew Yang is president. It's January 2021, and I'm like, it's Freedom Dividend time. And then the checks start going out, or the deposits into your checking accounts, and then you and everyone you know has $1,000 extra every month. Now, would that make it easier to pay your bills? Yes. Would it make you healthier?
Yeah.
Would it make you mentally healthier? Would it improve your relationships?
Yes.
Would it make you more likely to start a business or do something you want to do?
Yes.
100 times yes. You probably have a cool job, Jake. You'd rather start a business. And here we are in a place that's meant to support people who are starting businesses. So it'd be this massive boon to entrepreneurship. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started an organization that helped create thousands of jobs around the country. And what I want most is for more people to do things that they want to do, like Jordan has done, and others, where they create businesses that reflect who they are as a person. And we can make that happen if we just get resources into Americans' hands. So the first big pillar is a universal basic income, which I've renamed the Freedom Dividend. Now I renamed it the Freedom Dividend because it tests much better with the word freedom in it among more Americans. And so I said, Freedom Dividend it is. Now, I want to delve in just a minute here, because some of you are thinking like, wow, that literally sounds too good to be true.
You're just too good to be true.
Raise your hand if you think, wow, that sounds too good to be true. Few people. All right. Now, it does sound great, but let me break it down for you why it's actually much more achievable than most people would think. So the first thing is that this idea has been in our history for generations, where Thomas Paine was for it at the founding of the country. And then Martin Luther King was for it, Milton Friedman was for it, and it passed the House of Representatives in 1971 under Richard Nixon. 1,000 economists signed a letter saying this would be great for the economy and society if we gave everyone $1,000. And there's one state where they actually made this a law in 1982, and everyone in that state now gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. And what state is that? Alaska. And how does Alaska fund that money? Oil. And what is the oil of the 21st century? Data, AI, information, autonomous vehicles, all these new technologies that are coming online. In Alaska, they call it the oil check. We're going to call it the tech check. Because the big winners from all of this innovation are going to be these trillion-dollar tech companies that are going to soak up more and more. And so if we get some of that value back, we can bring it back to us, the American people. In Alaska, so some of you are thinking, hey, conservatives aren't going to go for this, but Alaska is a very, very conservative state. It was a Republican governor who asked the people of Alaska this question: who would you rather get the oil money? The government who's just going to screw it up, or you, the Alaskan people? And the people of Alaska said,
give them to me.
please. And he said, I thought you'd say that. And then now they get the money. It's wildly popular. It's created thousands of jobs. It's improved children's health, and it's decreased income inequality in Alaska. We can do in the rest of the country what they've already done in Alaska. So that's pillar number one, the freedom dividend. Number two, raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. I get the sense there are some entrepreneurs in this room. Keep your hand up if you hate dealing with healthcare. So right now, healthcare is such a burden on entrepreneurs and workers and companies because we make it harder to switch jobs, harder to hire. 94% of the new jobs created in the United States since 2005 have been temporary or gig or contractor jobs because companies do not want to pay for healthcare. So what we have to do is we have to get healthcare off the backs of businesses and families by moving to a single-payer Medicare for all system. Right now, we are spending twice as much as other countries on our healthcare to worse results. It's perverse, it's ridiculous. If you get sick or injured, you should be focused on getting well, not navigating a bureaucracy or worrying about whether you can afford it. And that makes no sense. So pillar number two is Medicare for all. And then number three is that we need to transform the way we measure economic value and progress in this country. How many of you wake up excited about GDP? You wake up and be like, what you do? Are you an economist? Boo! Stone this man. I'm kidding. So GDP is something we invented almost 100 years ago in the Great Depression. And we're riding it now up a cliff. Because we're following it. Are self-driving trucks going to be good for GDP? Of course. But are they going to be bad for the 3.5 million truck drivers and the 5 million workers in truck stops, motels, and diners around the country? Sure. I am going to say something like it, but not quite in those terms. I'm going to ask you all, how would you measure the economy if you could draw it up today in 2018, almost 100 years later?
Health.
Social progress.
Social progress.
Well-being.
Health. Well-being. Infant mortality. Childhood success rates. Income. Average affordability. Mental health. Freedom from substance abuse. Environmental sustainability. So we could actually build a composite that takes those things into account and then create all new forms of work that move society in that direction. Call it the American Scorecard or the American Progress Index, and as president, I would report on it every year. And so instead of writing this GDP measurement, then we can create new forms of work for Americans, because GDP is going to be a loser more and more over time. Even the inventor of GDP said that this would be a terrible measurement for national well-being and we should never use it as that. He also said that we should include parenthood and motherhood in the calculation, which we of course do not. Yeah, let's give a round of applause. So those are the big three pillars to build a trickle-up economy. The opposite of what we have now. We essentially have now a trickle-down economy, where we build a trickle-up economy from human beings up, our families up, and our communities up. We need to do the opposite of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. And that's me. I'm going to be the next president of the United States because the pendulum is swinging our way. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Factory Unlocked.
Yummy, 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 yummy.